Insta360 has just announced their next camera, which will be coming on October 28th. So first of all, I actually saw this camera way back in 2019, August. I'm going to tell you the implications of that. Now, I am under NDA, so there's only so much I can tell you, but I can definitely comment on what they've put out there so far. And I'm also going to talk about what this has to do with the Insta360 One R. First, let's take a look at that trailer. Okay, so before we get to that trailer, let me show you their first hint, which was this image that they posted out. What's noticeable here is that they have this overlay that looks very similar to an overlay that they've used before. So yes, this looks a lot like the teaser that they first put out for the Insta360 One X. So that could be a hint about what this new camera is going to be like. The first shot with this guy somersaulting in slow motion, it looks a lot like the drift shot that made the Insta360 One X famous. But the difference is that this one is over water, so that gives us two possibilities. Number one, either they have a new case that's like a drifter but is waterproof, or the camera itself is waterproof. Now this next scene looks like a vertical bullet time shot. Now if you're not familiar with bullet time, it's a technique for Insta360 cameras where you have the Insta360 camera on the end of a monopod that's attached to a spinning handle, and then you turn it like this. Now that's how bullet time looks right now. But originally, the first time that bullet time came out, they had it on a string. And this one, this vertical bullet time, you can see that the hands of the person looks like it's holding something very thin. So it's not likely to be a monopod, it's more likely to be some kind of string. So they might have brought back the original bullet time with a string. All right, so that third shot was really amazing. So what we saw was that there was this car that was already moving with two passengers inside. And then you have this view from outside the car, and then the camera comes up and then through the window and then out the other side. The other thing is you have both passengers with their hands resting on their laps, and with the driver, both hands are on the steering wheel. Neither of them is pulling anything. It looks impossible, but they were able to do it. Now, some possibilities. Okay, could be a drone. All right, if you have an FPV pilot who's really good and you have the Insta360 camera mounted on it, and then it flies, it could do it now, but it's not likely because you have to have extreme precision. And whatever this is something that they're making it look like anyone should be able to do it with this new camera. All right, so this one was really cool and it almost stumped me, but I think I have a pretty good idea of how they shot it. And so what I did is I looked at the video more carefully and looked at it very closely, and I noticed that you can actually see the reflection of the camera on the car. So when we look at the reflection, we can see that the cameraman was on a scooter and had a long monopod with the Insta360 camera. And then they drove up close to the car, and then they put the Insta360 camera through the window. It is very challenging to do, but not impossible to do. And you might want to check if it's allowed in your area with your local laws. But it's a really cool shot. It's a great idea. Genius. So with this next one, you have someone bouncing a ball with their feet, and it looks like one of those ads that have the product focus stabilized in the middle. So my guess is that there's going to be a new shot lab effect that's going to use AI to analyze the video and identify the subject. Or maybe you can press the target or subject with your finger after identifying the subject, it's going to keep it in the middle so that it looks like it's the video is moving around with the object exactly in the middle, stabilized and not moving, and it's going to look like one of those Beats ads. Those are my guesses so far. Now let's talk about what this camera has to do with the Insta360 One R. And if you have the Insta360 One R or you just got it from the Amazon Prime Day sale, congratulations, and don't worry. Why? Well, like I said, I saw this camera as early as August 2019 when I visited Insta360's offices, and they showed it to me, and they showed the One R to me. Neither of them had been released at that time. So this is really important. Why? Remember that the Insta360 One R was released January of this year. What that means is that they were developing both products simultaneously. So what does this have to do with you? Well, it means that they intend to have both products simultaneously. They're going to be sold side by side. Why is that? Because they're not exactly for the same market. They're for different markets. And FYI, Insta360 has done that twice before. One time with the Insta360 One and the Insta360 Nano S. They were both being sold simultaneously, side by side. And another time was with the Insta360 One X and the Insta360 Evo. So that's the same thing that's going to be going on with this one. You'll have the Insta360 One R and the new Insta360 camera. This is not going to supersede the Insta360 One R. This camera, this new camera, there's some things that it cannot do that the Insta360 One R can do. They're not. This one does not replace the Insta360 One R. So when you see it, you will know. For some people, the better camera will be this new camera. But for some people, the better camera will be the Insta360 One R. I'm really excited about this new camera. I've been testing it for a couple months already. It's really cool. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Whether you get the Insta360 One R or this new camera, this is something you gotta see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in 360.